What's up, guys? So it's been about 4 or 5 months since I did all the suspension work on the Mustang. I did a BMR rear subframe or rear control arm mount reinforcement, torque box reinforcement actually, for the upper and lower boxes. I also did spherical lower BMR lower control arms that had spherical ends at the body and polyurethane at the axle. I put new polyurethane bushings at the end of the upper arms. I have spherical joints that have to go in the rubber bushings that are mounted to the rear axle housing itself. I actually haven't done those yet. I haven't had the time to get back underneath the car and do those. While I was in there, I did front polyurethane bushings on the steering rack, on the front control arms. I replaced the ball joints, and I also put a STEEDA sway bar up front, and then I put lowering springs all the way around. They actually are the Ford Racing Type C lowering springs. I did those because they were the less aggressive. I believe it's the Type C, don't quote me on that. I did the less aggressive Ford Racing lowering springs. I did that hoping to get a little bit less of a harsh ride and a little bit more comfortable, because I do want to drive this on a pretty regular basis. As far as all the suspension upgrades I did, the rear control arm bushings, as you probably saw in my previous video where I did the torque box install, the rear subframe or control arm bushings were completely blown out, like completely. They had this weird thing that when you would roll into the, like, first gear, roll out the clutch, you could feel the axle like rolling into those worn out bushings and like twisting in the car. You could also, when you were getting on and off the throttle at cruising speed, say doing 50-55 miles an hour like I am right now, when you would let off the gas pedal, you could feel the axle kind of come back to center, and then when you roll back into the gas pedal again, you could feel the axle like rolling and twisting in the car. It was an extremely uncomfortable feeling, and I drove it like that 3 or 4 times before I was like, I just can't drive it like this anymore. I have to fix this. So I did all that stuff back there. I did the BMR Torque Box Re-enforcement because these cars are known for having a pretty weak torque box in the rear. And then I did all my polyurethane bushings and then my upgraded lower control arms with my spherical bushings at the body. And let me tell you, it made the back of this car feel 100 times better than it was before. Mind you, I'm going from a really, really worn, like, somewhat dangerous suspension that had a bushing that was completely blown out and was causing movement, to completely stiff suspension. So I'm feeling a lot more difference than you would if you were going from the stock rubber bushings that aren't as blown out as mine to what I have now. But seeing as how this car has quite a bit of miles on it, this car actually has 240,000 miles on it, I would imagine in the high 100,000 mile range, the bushings are going to be in about the same situation as far as flex and stuff goes. So if you're doing this to your higher mileage Mustang, whether it be a Mach 1 like what I have or just a regular GT, I feel like it will probably you'll still feel the difference when you're driving it. Now, the sway bar that I put in up front actually made a ton of difference as far as the fact that the front end doesn't have it has almost no body roll anymore when you go to dig into a corner. It's very, very flat. It does exactly what you ask it to do. I do still have a little bit of on-center play in my steering wheel. I believe that's probably due to the rag joint in between the steering wheel and the steering rack itself. There's actually an upgraded joint that I believe a Maximum Motorsport sells that has 2 like steel style universal joints instead of the rag joint. I plan on getting that as well, just because of the fact that this is just an awful feeling having some dead center play, because when you're trying to like do high-speed maneuvering, there's a dead spot before the car actually reacts to what you're wanting it to do. So if you are having that type of issue with yours as well, that is most likely due to the rag joint. Sometimes it's the steering rack, but the rag joint in these cars, just with the high mileage, is known to have a lot of play in it and cause that problem. I can't say that I'm super satisfied with the lowering springs. They were supposed to be an 1.5 inch drop in the front, 3/4 inch in the rear, and I feel like they dropped the back of the car the 3/4 inch that it said it was going to, but I don't feel like they dropped the front 1.5 inches. Mind you, I haven't driven it a whole lot, so they haven't really had time to settle, but the car's been sitting on the ground for months now, and I don't know if they're going to settle out any more than they have, because they should settle out with just the weight of the vehicle on it. I did not do front or rear shock kind of regretting it now because you can definitely tell there's a little bit of uncontrolled body movement due to the worn out shocks and just the high mileage that this car has. Maybe that's contributing to me not liking the springs. I'm not 100% sure. But because I didn't get the lowering that I want out of these springs, I actually think that I'm going to go to a coilover setup on this car just so I can get the lowering that I want. And then I can also get the not only height control, they'll have camber caster plates built into them, and that'll solve that problem as well. So I think I'm going to end up going to a coilover here in the future. Other than that, I'm super satisfied with everything. Like I said, the back end feels fantastic compared to what it did before. Much better than what it ever was from the time I got it. I haven't driven it a whole lot. I've probably only put 300 or 400 miles on it just because I have a kid. I got to take her to school every day, and trying to drive a two-door car, putting a baby seat in the back of it is not the easiest thing to do. So I've kind of not driven it as much as I have wanted to and should have. Plus the weather's been a little cold here, and I have R888, Toyo R888s on the back, and they are not meant for cold weather. If it's below 30 degrees in the, below 32 degrees in the morning, I don't drive the car because the tires are meant to, they're not even supposed to be stored below 32 degrees. Mind you, where I live in the morning, it can be between 30 and 35 in the morning because I leave for work so early. Mind you, it's normally nice during the day, but in the morning it's too cold and I don't feel safe driving on these tires because I really don't know what will happen to them with the, if it's too cold outside for them. So I've just kind of put off driving it just due to weather and it being a little inconvenient with the child seat. But today was a nice day. It was 55 degrees this morning. It's 72 or 73 outside right now, so it was definitely a good day to drive it. Other than that, I'm happy with the suspension, other suspension modifications that I did. Like I said, all of the polyurethane bushings, the sway bar that I did, all that stuff I feel is fantastic. I'm going to go to a coilover system. I will update you guys to the coilover system, let you know what I put in it, and give you an update on how much better it is, or worse, if it's worse, than what I've got going on right now. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. You can please subscribe to the channel. There'll be tons of stuff that's going on with this Mustang. This is a project car of mine. I also have a lot of project stuff going on the 3 Series station wagon that I have as well. If you have any questions about any of the suspension stuff that I put on, please comment down below and I will be sure to answer any questions you have. And thanks for watching, guys.